Hey guys, how's it going? So this video is coming up later than it should be for two reasons. Number one, I had to have a new furnace installed because the old one was like 50 something years old. And secondly, there's an event going on MCC Island that I've been trying to grind out before it ends on November 5th, which, by the way, I am recording this on Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone. So today, as you can see on the screen, this is what we're going to be talking about. Okay, we spawn in like the opposite biome we need to be in. But anyways, welcome to a snapshot survival world where I'm going to be taking a look and expressing my opinions on the winter drop. So the snapshot we're using is 24W44A. Alright guys, so this right here in front of us is a brand new biome that will be added in kind of major update, but it's not really a major update. And this biome is a rather interesting one because it's the only overworld biome where if you go into it, the sky changes color. This biome has a very desaturated vibe and color to it, and it's made up of its own unique like foliage, like pale moss, pale hanging moss, pale moss carpet, and of course it has its own tree and unique wood set. So the pale oak logs of course can be used to make pale oak planks, which can be used to make all sorts of stuff. But honestly, I really like a white colored wood set. I think this looks very cool for like modern houses. Like if you see modern houses where I live in the United States, the walls of the house are mostly like white shingle walls. Cause like before, most like modern houses that you build, you had to use like quartz, which doesn't really have a whole lot of texture to it and it just looks a bit off. But now with like pale oak wood in the game, modern houses will be so much easier to build. It's awesome. And also, whenever a unique wood set gets added, I just want to see what the door and trapdoor look like. I think the door and trapdoor both look amazing. The hinges and the door handle stick out rather well. And of course, we have the pale oak sapling. Now, the way you grow these trees is very similar to how you grow dark oak tree, where you have to place 4 saplings in a 2x2 like this to grow them. And it behaves just like all the rest of the saplings, like you can put it in a flower pot. And also, as you can see leaf particles like slowly falling down. And also the pale garden biome has its own unique flower, which is, of course, the eye blossom or closed eye blossom. This flower has 2 different states when it becomes nighttime. So the eye blossom can be used to craft dye, but it can also be used to make suspicious stew. So I believe the closed eye blossom gives blindness. Alright, so with the closed eye blossom, we made suspicious stew. Oh no, the closed eye blossom gives you nausea. Okay. But so the open eye blossom is the one that gives you blindness. And the open eye blossom actually gives orange dye. But if I place an open eye blossom during the daytime, it's actually gonna close up eventually. Come on now. Don't keep me waiting. And if bees try to pollinate this flower, they'll actually get poisoned, as you can see. So yeah, not the ideal flower to use to breed bees. So this is the unique mob that spawns in this biome during nighttime. And it's the first actual tree-like mob, which is called the creaking, as you can see in the subtitles. Now the creaking, as you can see, doesn't really like do much on its own, but if I switch to survival, as you can see, it just suddenly stops moving. But if I turn around and then look at it, it stops moving. So it's essentially like a weeping angel from Doctor Who, but in my eyes, this just looks like an Ent from Lord of the Rings. And in this recent snapshot, they actually buffed the amount of damage that the creaking does. If I run away, yeah, it runs very fast, as you can see. And if I try to punch it, as you can see, it actually doesn't take damage. That's because there is another source of defeating this mob. So it starts generating these particles towards this tree right here. And it also generates this material called resin, which in real life, resin is like a material that's like found on trees. I don't really know much about it. Aha, there it is. So this right here is the creaking heart, which is the source of spawning these mobs. And you can actually obtain this with Silk Touch. And you can also craft it, which we're going to look. But let's see what happens if we break this one. The creaking will start twitching and eventually break down into dust. And we also got a little bit of experience. So the creaking actually can scare certain mobs away. And the mobs include pillagers, as you can see, running away from the creaking. Vokers will run away. Ravagers are supposed to run away, but I do believe it's a bug. And of course, Vindicators will also run away from it. So in a sense, the creaking could be useful in making like a villager defense if you're doing raids at night. But before we continue any further, let's talk about this resource. But if we type resin in chat, there's like a whole bunch of cool stuff that this can be used for. So raw resin clumps can actually be used to smelt inside of a furnace to turn into resin bricks. And resin bricks has its own unique block palette of resin brick stair, slab, wall, and a chiseled variant. Also, it has a unique sound. Listen to this. It's very cool. And it's also a very bright orange. And it has its own chiseled variant, which has like the face of the creaking on it. And you can also use 9 resin clumps to get yourself a block of resin. I don't really know much use I'll have with this in terms of like a building block, but maybe it could be like scales or something. Like you could build like a dragon. But the resin clumps do have one other use. Oh, and as you can see, the creaking are disappearing because once it becomes daytime, the creaking will disappear and will reappear once it turns nighttime again. And as you can see, you can actually make your own creaking hearts to spawn more creaking. Just requires a block of resin and 2 pale oak logs. So another use with the resin clumps is that you can actually apply them through a smithing template to apply armor trim. And as you can see, it has this very bright orange texture on it, which honestly, bright orange is my favorite color. One thing I forgot to mention about the resin block is that it's kind of like glow lichen where you can place it on like any surface. And the decoration potential for this block is like massive. And the way you activate them is to have 2 pale oak logs just like this, and as you can see, it lights up. And also, if you may be wondering, do creaking hearts generate in pale oak trees that you grow? The answer is no. You do have to craft them, and also, if you do grow a pale oak tree, it actually doesn't generate any of the pale hanging moss, which you can bone meal, as you can see. And a disclaimer, it does not behave like normal vines. You actually can't climb this. Oh, look at that water. I actually didn't notice this before, but the water is also like a slightly different color. Oh, that's cool. Honestly, my overall thoughts about this biome so far, I think this biome is very cool. I think it's like one of the biomes that like stands out the most out of like the ones that have been added recently. And also, stripped pale oak wood kind of looks like calcite. If I take a look at both of these blocks side to side, actually, now that I look at it, it doesn't really look the same. The potential for resin clump farms as well Like, I kind of don't want to test trying it out, but like a resin clump farm is only going to work if it's like daytime. If and when I start my own survival, like hardcore world again, I want to build some more like modern style builds. Like, I think that would be like a nice challenge to do. So I want to do some more tests on the creaking before we wrap it up. Do iron golems naturally attack these guys? Oh, they do. So if you have like an iron golem constantly attacking this guy and generating resin. Oh, it only generates if a player attacks it. Okay. So this really can't be something you farm automatically. Alright, so I'm just trying to think about this. So I think the way this would have to work is to limit the spots where creaking can spawn. Can creaking spawn on non-spawnable blocks? Okay, it can't spawn. And yeah, if the creaking are too far away from the creaking heart, they will just despawn and new ones will generate. Okay, so if you were to have like cages where the creaking can spawn at, and you have like a minecart rolling around where with an auto clicker where you just hit their feet, you can automatically have like a large clump of this spawn resin. I'm gonna have to do some more experiments with that. But I'm pretty sure like Razeworks and like other big brain Minecraft redstoners have already figured out like automatic farm for this material. This is, by the way, for Minecraft 1.21.3. It's not like called the winter drop update. Because Mojang said for now they're mostly going to work on drops rather than big updates for now. Because I'm pretty sure 1.22 is going to be the end update that all of us have been waiting for. And speaking of which, if you do want to check out that video, there will be a card on screen right now for you guys. I hope you guys liked this look at the Pale Garden features. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, and I'll see you later.